Oh, that was good static, man.
I was trying to be P.
You know, listen to some running water. Maybe that will help you, Pit.
I don't know about you, but my piss sounds like static. I did a great job.
Yeah, it would be too similar sound.
Hello and welcome to Quackcast number 284. This is the Writing Dialogue Quackcast number part 2, and we have Mr. Baines along. Hello, Mr. Baines.
Hello.
Hello, and we have the lovely Tantz. Hello, lovely Tantz.
Hello.
And we have the amazingly handsome Pitface.
Hello, darling.
There we are, Pitface looking dashing as always. Tantz looking lovely, Pit looking dashing, Baines looking incredibly pretty. In that manly frock. As you expect. This is the traditional costume of the proud Canadian people. So, we're going to be discussing dialogue in this Quackcast. Which is like the second part of this great big long thread that we had in the Drunkduck forums. But first, before we do that, we have to introduce the feature, and the feature this week was Cosmos Song, and I did that feature.
Oh.
It's a beautiful comic. Have you guys seen Cosmos Song?
By Pepe.
Pepe, yeah.
Oh.
The lovely Pepe, who
Okay.
has done a feature.
Then the artwork will be very interesting, and if it's better, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
I'm trying to pay a compliment.
Pay. I love it. Her comic is very, very lush in the colours, just beautiful colours.
That's beautiful, yeah.
All right, so
looks great, isn't it?
It is indeed. Okay, so here is the feature. Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean, and my feature for the week was Cosmos Song by Pepe. In the beautiful, verdant and luscious village paradise of Pilar, young sorceress Roxy goes about her daily routine. But this day, things are to be a little different. A strange, pale man with black hair arrives to fight a terrible beast. And fails. Roxy takes in Ronig and nurses his wounds, showing him the ways of her people. Will love blossom between them, like the lovely flowers on the island? Only time will tell. And what is the story behind the mysterious Ronig? Cosmos Song is a beautifully rendered fantasy comic with an amazing rainbow of colours and lovely glowing effects. The story features action, romance, and it moves along at a very good pace, and it really is quite addictive, as well as a treat for the eyes. Yeah, Pepe has created quite a visual feast in the island paradise of Pilar. Everybody is dressed in highly well-designed costumes that are very individual and fascinating. These aren't just generic versions of the outfits you might find in a lot of comics or stories. These are things that she has created very specifically for this. And there's another people, Ronix people, who live in the ice and the snow and some kind of dark underground world. And they're totally different from Roxy's people on the island paradise of Pilar. So she's created two very different worlds, two very different communities and ethnicities, cultures almost. So she's very, very skilled at that sort of thing. Anyway, I hope you, dear reader, will enjoy the story of Cosmos Song. It's only like 60, 70 or so pages, so it's very easy to go through. and it should be good. So, read Cosmos Song by Pepe, rated M. And that was Cosmos Song. Thank you very much for that, Ozone Ocean. You did a great job. Whoa, no worries. I'm very good at what I do. Okay. Now I've finished that bit of masturbatory congratulation. Because I am a wanker. But next up we have the featured music, which was done for us by the amazing Gunwallace. And this week he has done the music to Mental Hospital, I think. It's called Our Little Mental Hospital by a fellow called Tim in a Box, which I'm sure will be a future feature. This music is a crazy, insane sounding Latin groove. It makes you want to salsa. So take it away, Mr. Salsa King, Gunwallace.
Also, want chips really bad.
And that was Gunwallace's Our Little Mental Hospital. And thank you very much, Pitt and Baines, for giving me plenty of material to stick in front of the Quackcasts. That was
Said stick it.
lovely stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
I hope my voice isn't too loud, man. I tried to listen to the last Quackcast, and it was horrible. I couldn't even listen to it. I couldn't stand listening to myself.
Oh, your voice
you sound
is
fine from here.
Yeah.
For me,
On the go ahead.
for me, it sounded just fine. I mean, you should stop with the self-bias thing. I mean, like,
Yeah, that it just seemed like it was way too loud. Like I don't know if I was talking too loud or just my recording comes through too loud.
If you are any lower in tone of voice, you will be whispering. It's going to be very enervating.
Enervating. That is such a weird word. It means the opposite to what it sounds like. It sounds like energizing, but it's not. It means
It's not.
quite
You're right.
the opposite. Very
Yes.
enervating. But we're not talking about innovating here. We're talking about dialogue. And
Talking about talk.
yeah, we're talking about talking. That's right, Baines. And
Thank you.
the last person who we got up to was Mr. Bravo 1102. So Baines, would you like to do the honors with your best Bravo Nation?
Sure. Bravo 1102. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Give him a different voice. Every is perfect because all a first draft has to do exist. The first draft of anything is shit. So in existing a first draft, in existing a first draft is perfect, but on that page is nothing but shit. But at least it is there. So doing dialogue last may work for some, but most of the time it will lead to mechanical shit, just to propel plot or deliver a punchline. If you have a line and then cast about for who say it, you need to work on your characterization. But actually, there is no right answer. What for you is what works for you. However, there are ways to do it better, and in making pretty pictures and letting the words come last, most of the time you end up with pretty pictures and the dialogue reads like the afterthought it is. It will be first draft shit. As any performance dialogue evolve, as in, that voice is too slow for it, right? That was my Michio Kaku, but I'll continue with the different one. As in any performance, dialogue evolves. There is the written word, the polished word, then there is blocking. It works better over here, and this other one is unnecessary. But the character would make this remark. My tidy overlaid with scribble. Now I'm in a combination of Michio Kaku and while blocking out sequences, then laying out the panel and page additional lines to clarify actions, adjust themselves, and whole speeches get digested down. Pardon me, to a line or two. A line or two. There can be a huge difference between this is the way I do things and the best way to do things. Sometimes, totally turning your work habits upside down just might lead to a better product. Whoa, man. I'm warmed up here.
Okay.
That's good. That's good. That's very true. I've been thinking a lot since last week about, like, Used Books was talking about how much she, like, scripts and rewrites and all that kind of stuff. And, like, a lot of us do our dialogue last. I do, and that's the way to do it for the reasons that Bravo is saying. For those reasons, maybe it's better to do more more drafts, more quality.
I don't know. It depends which is the best way for you. You know which way works better. I know, like in drawing, like comic pages. Drawing. I would often go through many stages. You know, doing the whole drafts and then toning things up and tracing and then doing another version, and you lose a lot of that spontaneity and energy and originality in it. You know, the nice bits get rounded off too much, and all the good stuff, and so you end up with something that's a bit too processed. So, there's good things and bad things.
You could reach that point. Yeah. That's the other end of this spectrum, right? If you sort of if you kind of like smooth it out so much that it's kind of just, there's no energy to it anymore or something like that. A little bit of rough edges, but still, I don't know. A little more rewriting could definitely benefit me. Too little. But.
What's that, Tantz?
Yeah, I was saying that it really depends on the output and how much you see your audience engaging with the characters. I mean, if they refer to the characters in a way like they consider them relatively real people, in a sense, I would say that then whatever you are doing is working. If they aren't really very engaging, then maybe you should reconsider on how you write your dialogue, maybe.
That's a good point, yeah. What is the response to your characters? Well, next up we have Mr. Gunwallace. And, okay, I'll take on Gunwallace. Maybe.
Take on me.
Take on me.
Gunwallace. Dialogue. Oh my God! You don't know.
That's such a high voice.
I had to give up. Yeah.
All right, so Gunwallace. Maybe I should try a high voice now.
Oh, wasn't that the post? Oh, wait, yeah, there's...
Gunwallace says...
Pinch your nuts if you need to. Works for me.
I'm always doing that already. I have to go higher. Okay, Gunwallace says...
It's got your fist right down there.
I write conversations first. Often, I'm not sure who is
That's so
talking,
painful.
which leads to a lot of editing later. However, since the Baines method, all praise to the Baines, entered my life, I also try to order my conversations into the framework of the Baines method specifications. May it live 1,000 years. All praise to the Baines. For example, here's some dialogue I jotted down for something I'm writing. Hey, that's a good song. It's a ballad though. So? We don't do ballads. Well, if we did, that'd be one. It has fuck in the title and everything. True, but still, a ballad. If Brainless Toilet doesn't do ballads, then maybe Trish Trash and her backing band do. Trish Trash? You're giving up the tits? Yeah, after all, who wants to see a pair of saggy 50-year-old boobs? They all raise their hands. I think you'd be surprised. And the title revolted. I think it goes on the album. Me too. I think it's a single. All I know at this point is it's a conversation between 4 band members. Some of the lines definitely belong to characters. Trish, her husband, the drummer, but there's a bass player. A bass player. A bass player? That's it. In
Plays
there
a
as
fish.
well. And he needs a line or two. Not sure which one he gets yet. The Baines method, praise it, tells us this bit goes into fun and games. The band from the early 80s has reformed in the present day and is performing their new songs. And they are enjoying themselves. The gunmen that arrive moments later help the story propel the plot into the next phase and introduce some B-story complications in Men's Toilet. Obviously, there's a lot of rewriting and editing to come. Maybe in a year or two, this will be a comic. Time will tell.
Oh,
Oh, goodness me.
Are you okay?
That's got must have been
Okay,
difficult.
my friend?
I'll never be able to have children again.
Again.
Yes, I've had enough.
You've already got 15.
Well, you look after them, Pete, okay?
I will suckle them like they're my own.
Oh, God. So, the Baines method.
When I was first coming up with my... yeah, it's not like he's been... Now, it's hilarious. It's like an ongoing thing. But it's something that he learned from me, that I learned from somewhere else. And we talked about it on the Quackcast way back. Maybe we could go through it again, because it is, at least for Gunwallace, it's been very helpful. I write a lot of things that way. And it's sort of about just a general kind of story structure. It's somewhat related to the hero. It's a lot more kind of nuts and bolts. And it's very helpful in terms of, a lot of stories have these activity, less activity. There's Act 1, 2, and 3. But in there also are these points, these kind of milestones that you hit that really help you kind of structure a story the way most stories are structured.
Yeah,
so
the Baines method.
That approach a lot. And
works.
I like his writing of dialogue thing first. That's how I started putting my characters together. My typical strange characters, I worked with just the characters for years, and I didn't know what to do. I just kind of started writing dialogue, like just kind of little back and forth things, and to start getting a feel for just writing in general and get a little, little comedy going. Whatever. So yeah,
That's how you came up with the Baines
that's
method.
that. This feels weird. Something feels weird, man.
What?
Are you sitting on your
I don't
pencil
know.
again?
There's a weird vibe.
No,
It's
it's just the delay in your talking. So it was just
okay, that's what it is.
when to jump in and when it was like
I could have rambled on. Yeah. And without the delay, yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't
yeah, man.
don't worry about it. There's a delay and it likes to cut you off like at like the very end of your sentences. It does it constantly, like for some reason.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so next
That was
up,
good.
next up we have there's an ocean. Oh fuck.
Oh.
Oh.
I like how it surprised you so much.
Oh, it's ozone ocean.
Why? Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Totally feigned. Yes, it's all made up.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
so
There's an
you're-
opinion.
All right then. Tantz, would you want to do your? Oh no, Tantz does a great used books. Okay, Pitt, you can do Ozone Ocean.
Okay, you like that.
Wow.
All right.
I've got another laugh.
It's a spicy meatball.
I sat on a pencil. Don't worry.
One of the things we forgot about what the fuck is that? We forgot about comics is that it's not pictures but plus writing. It's writing in the form of pictures. So depending on how you work, how much thought you put into the script and how much story you pack into the art, etc., by the time it comes to put the dialogue in there, it's a culmination rather than an quote afterthought quote. That's the end.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because doing the
that's a good point. And wow, your Australian accent is getting really good.
Oi, crikey!
Yeah.
doing the pictures is just another kind of writing, really. So you come up with the dialogue and everything like that. It's all one thing in your head. So what your characters say is just an extension of what they're doing on the page already. So it's not like writing and artwork. It's all one thing.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, even when you sit down, if you do the two processes even separately, like say you wrote a script, you're not going to write that script without an idea of like what kind of position the character has or what their physical emotion might be that you'll have to draw.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, I mean, you might, but when it comes time to put them both down on the page, you have to think of both together.
Yep, precisely. You know if they're going to be angry in this scene, going to show a lot of emotion. The body language, the facial expression, all that informs the dialogue that they will be saying. So it all works in. Whether you do it from starting from a dialogue position or you add the dialogue afterwards, it's all part of the same process of creating a visual story.
Yeah, and sometimes, and speaking from a point of view, like I have very wordy comics because I come from short story and novel writing to comics. So, but it has happened a lot to me to like have scripted a page, and then when I have completed making the frames, the artistic visual part of the page, some parts of the dialogue are omitted. Like I don't actually put the dialogue in because it's not necessary. It comes across from the body language or the way, like the angles or whatever. So you don't actually need to write the entire dialogue after all, in the sense, because the characters themselves act it out if you have it in mind already.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You got to meld the two together like a melted fondue of writing and of
like a marvelous
Stick it all together
pizza.
and mash it up and like a toasted peanut butter and banana sandwich. Oh,
Okay, that far. Yeah, that's freaky. Tantz, would you like to give us your best used books voice?
I know that you would like that.
I certainly would. Wow.
Oh, goodness. Like you want the same one? The
Well,
obnoxious one. I guess.
well, if you've got a like a whole quiver, a whole arsenal of voices, you could do something else if you want. But...
I'm not going like this, right? I don't know what will happen. Okay. Yeah. We have different methods, but also different kinds of projects. I think saying comics are blank or drafts are blank is flawed because those are personal opinions, not hard truths. I have to write things down I have to write things down or I'll lose them forever. Someone who works out of his head might criticize and say, I'm over-editing or going to spoil it, but I simply put every thought on paper. And like I mentioned, dialogue leads my story. Characters react to it. Dialogue change causes plot change, and maintaining a weekly update schedule means working ahead a good way, and means I need to have it on paper to alter plot and action once I have that dialogue. I draw my art to fit the dialogue. It probably is part of my quote-unquote writer's brain. I need my writing prompts to inspire.
That sounds like an affliction.
She was diagnosed.
Rather than vice versa. I think in words, not pictures. You're making me laugh. Damn you. Oz, to me, it sounds like you have dialogue drafts, but all in your brain rather than on paper. I tend to be thinking about 6 arcs at a time and hate to lose, quote, the perfect line dash exchange, unquote. So I write it down. That's how I end up with several versions of a conversation, sometimes leading to several possible alternate outcomes. I have a terribly cluttered mind. It helps to know different methods, dash techniques, not dash slash, isn't it? Okay. Methods slash techniques slash processes without labeling a quote-unquote superior one. If you are struggling, slash angle. Oz, you kind of started this my way is best thing by posing that exact question. Which way is better? It's all your fault.
Evil man. Oh, it's always the guy in the fluffy hat.
Always. No, she misunderstood that. As everyone does when they take offense to something I say. It's because they misunderstand. That's how it works.
I mean, I'm sure you mean what kind works better for you. What is best applying, right? Why would you defend this way of doing this for yourself? That's probably what you mean, right?
Yeah. What you say.
Not like what's the dictionary definition of like the great... See? I'm a good friend.
You are.
What's number one for everybody?
So next up we have
Kaiser Ozone.
Kaiser. I like that. I need to make a bigger hat to fit that title.
You know, the funnier the hat, the more important the position. You know, that's the rule.
I should be emperor of the world by then. by now.
Yes.
I'm already king of Australia with this hat. So next up we have Mr. Bravo. Baines, would you like to do your best, your very best Bravo for us? Could be any voice.
Oh, good.
Droopy dog, maybe? I don't know. No, you take your inspiration as it comes.
Think of like a 1920s strongman.
What was that?
Yeah.
Like a see? Like they kind of, you know what I mean?
See? Okay, I'll try.
You don't have to if it's too hard.
I'll give it a shot, and then I'll change if it. There's a couple several paragraphs here. Face it, Ozone Ocean. I am saying that the dialogue in Pinky TA is shit. See? No. In truth, I'm saying that anything I tried to compose that way would be shit. Though it's hard to imagine my stuff being worse. I am way too insecure to let my first draft get past the draft stage. You see? Even something as inconsequential as a comic jam page scribbled rewrites. All I could do was just keep saying, see? I don't really know. It's self-flagellation. Flagellation.
No blind Bones.
I'll do Hillary Clinton now. I've never tried before. I can't write on the fly with pictures. I use books. I came at this as a writer. As everything being a visual thinker, a story of people to me is them talking and interacting. It is just a raised eyebrow. It is still dialogue. You read correctly. You read correctly. Facial. You read correctly. I don't know. Facial expression. I don't know. Facial expression.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Dialogue in many facial expressions are considered dialogue in many screenplays. I do screenplays and then break them down into scenes. She's down south now campaigning. And then movement in a scene becomes a panel. I see and hear the scene and sometimes gesticulate as I write. Hot sauce. I guess that's why I pay so much attention to body language. There is no right or wrong way, only the right or wrong way for you. But that doesn't mean you can't experiment outside of your comfort zone and see if something else could work. Okay? I tried doing all images and then going back and filling in dialogue, and I did about 10 pages back to finish it and had no clue what I was supposed to be doing after the second page. The flow was all gone. How I write is a process born of some 4 decades of experimentation and experience. I know what works for me, and I know what works for America. Oh, wait. I've gotten into other writers over time. Listening is important. Remember and write down patterns and snatches of dialogue to you. Keep a notebook of phrases for future reference. You never know when you'll need a clever one. A lot of what I say here is what I wish I could pull off, opposed to what I have already composed real sounding and clever dialogue, but that rarely makes up for a bad story.
Ta-da!
That voice was all over. Yeah.
They kept on cutting out a lot too while you were doing it, and so like it would be quiet, then all of a sudden would break in with like manic laughter. It was a little jarring. I mean, much like the real Hillary Clinton.
Much
So
like the real, yeah. Sometimes the programming breaks down.
Exactly. Poor old Hillary bot. What are you gonna do?
Aw.
So next up we have Kim
Yeah, man.
Luster.
That's you.
Oh, wait, were you saying something? I cut out there.
All right, Kim.
Huh?
Kim Luster. Here she is. Okay, and she says, "For each page, I have a rough draft in my head of how I want dialogue to be, or at least the high points. I picture what I want pretty much in each panel, which I also have a draft in my head. What I want, which I also have a draft in my head. When I start drawing it, when I actually start writing the dialogue, which only happens once the art is completely done, I'll modify it depending on what I did with the art, or just because I feel a bit differently, I'll modify it, feel a bit differently, but the spirit of what I initially had in my head never changes, or at least hasn't yet. Like many here, I sort of consider myself a writer first, and I find it odd that I don't actually do any writing until the art is done. But then it is written in my head. Here's to my memory staying functional." Wow, that was great, Kim. Oh, it's so good for us. Oh, what's happened to Mr. Baines? He's gone.
Yeah, where'd he go?
Fully
Unfortunately,
programmed probably after that.
I disturbed him too much and he had to leave. I'm sorry for that, Baines, but it had to be done. You'll get used to it. All right. So next up we have Irrevenant. So Pitt, could you take Irrevenant for us, please?
Revenant. Revenant. That's going to get annoying, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do Les Claypool, Revenant. All right. Well, I script things out in advance and make sure I know what my dialogue is in advance for the same simple reason that I need to know whether or not I can fit it into the page. Page I just finished, in my wisdom, I decided to include vast amounts of detail and vast amounts of text. Looking back, I probably should have made it to 2 pages. If I had known in advance what the text was and how much space it was going to take up when I composed the page, I wouldn't have had most in the artwork. Yeah. Yeah.
Shake hands with beef.
You're the guy from the hamburger train, right?
Oh, Winona and a big brown beaver. We love Les Claypool.
I'm sure he loves us too.
Sure.
So next up we have Used Books again. Tantz.
It's a match. Okay, it's a match. That's another reason it's helpful to have it written down. I've got decent at eyeballing the length of a script to decide to either pare it down or use 2 pages to present it.
Oh. So yes, you can do that. You can change how many pages you have and all that kind of stuff when you have a good script to work from. It happens. All right, Baines.
Oh, I'm sorry. You cut out there on my end. I apologize. Okay, so bravissimo. And I can go up to 2, 3, or even 4 pages of comic for 1 page of script. I think the worst was 7 pages for a fight scene that was 3 sentences in the script.
A little goes a long way. He's a grower, not a shower. I'm just shoving in the requisite double entendres here, you know. I've got a quota to fill, guys. Come on.
Everyone note that in your notebooks. Another one.
So, Mr. Gunwallace...
then Gunwallace has dialogue here, right? Should we read his blog? Go back and forth, a couple of us?
Alright, what is it like everyone does a line?
Sure.
No, were you saying... Do you mean, like, since he has a quote in his, like, somebody reads what he's saying, then somebody reads the quote? Is that what you meant?
Like 2 people, 2 characters in the quote, so 2 people could read the back and forth.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because Gunwallace said, "My favorite bit of dialogue from something I will hopefully make with Playmobil next year." And then he has this little scene of
the
a bartender talks to Kevin. Yeah.
All right, the bartender talks to Kevin, an insomniac vampire. All right, so we have an insomniac vampire and Kevin. No, we have Kevin the insomniac vampire.
He is insomniac. There's a bartender and there's Kevin.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, who's Kevin and who's the bartender?
Pitface is the bartender, and Tantz is Kevin.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. So I assume that's Kevin starting out with that first line?
I'm Kevin. I forgot.
No, that's the bartender.
No, the bartender, I mean. Yeah, okay. Boy, all right. We need to start getting this stuff in advance. Anyway, all right, here we go.
That might be it.
Have you considered sleeping at night?
But that's when I should be out vampiring.
Yes, but if you can't sleep during the day, you could switch things up a bit, yeah?
I can't go out in the sunlight.
When is it ever sunny around here? We all know it is always cloudy and Philadelphia always sunny. God damn it! I'm gonna leave that one by the side of the road. It's always overcast and raining.
Even that would kill me.
Really?
Oh, yeah. A few minutes out in the rain would be as bad as standing in a ray of bright sunlight.
Cripes! It's a wonder there's any of you not left. That's a wrong accent for this.
What do you mean?
You vampires seem to be killed by just about everything. Running water, wooden stakes, silver weapons, sunlight, fist to the face.
A vampire is a terrifying creature of power.
Nah, a canary is better adapted for survival than a vampire.
No one runs screaming from a canary.
Yes, they do.
When?
When you're in a mine shaft and the canary just died. What the fuck just happened?
That was great.
So Gunwallace has no idea how he'll make that into an interesting page, but I think you guys just, my God.
We wrote it for him. We just put it into vision for him. Oh.
Yes. Acting!
Does anyone know what's going on in this Quackcast anymore? Everybody is lost right now.
We're just powering through. So the next 2 posts are just Bravo and Gunwallace going back and forth. So let's zoom down to Toon Doctor. Oh, I'll do Toon Doctor. Toon Doctor says, "Well, my dialogues are just so short, I write them on a notepad app on my phone where I plot the stories." And Gene Joke responds,
Yep.
well, I do the same, but I write pages and pages on my phone. Well, the same person, basically.
You skipped Gunwallace.
Well, because Gunwallace is responding to Bravo about their conversation.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
So next up we have used books.
No, we have Gin Joke. Responding to Toon Doctor. Come on.
Oh, I already did here.
You just did him.
You did it, yeah, you
He did him.
Okay.
Tantz. You know what's coming next, Tantz, don't you?
I documented the contents of one of my portfolios in 2013. This is basically my brain. Behold.
Ta-da!
This is interesting, man. The amount of paper that used books uses, like the amount of plotting, and it's like, man, full pages, man.
Yeah.
She's so organized.
Yeah.
She's like, your scripts go here, and rhinestones go here.
Brainstorm.
Got a little clerk running around for her.
I can't even keep my stuff in order when I had it in actual books. So
Yeah.
that's on loose leaf pages that she's got in stacks, which is shocking. Like I had like 5 different notebooks I was working from because I'd lose one for 2 years and then I'd find it, and so I have writing in all these different ones. So this is incredible.
I only have like a single Word document.
Wow.
That's it.
Huh.
Jeez. Those are hard to organize because you have to skip through pages and go back and forth, and I find Word documents are really tricky. I do. That's me. So what else does this book say? She has
She's basically bragging, and she should. That's not counting the digital drafts versions of scripts. I end up going on a hell of a scavenger hunt when I go to sort through to organize my next arc. Each little pile is a chapter or arc. I had 5 complete arcs when I took this picture. The orphan scripts, the noted number 1, are also complete arcs, first drafts that don't fit anywhere yet. That's amazing. Like super amazing. Like, yeah, I got nothing. Yeah.
That is her enormous, amazing, involved process. Well, next up, we have Bravo to finish. Baines.
And then there is representing what is not said in a dialogue. Words are one thing, but inference, context, and meaning are another.
Exactly, that's where art comes in. Pitt, Oz, that's me. Tantz, Baines, we're all incredible artists. Yes, we just depict this in expressions and long pauses, especially in the Quackcast. We have the longest pauses ever in those. We're all looking at each other with incredibly varied expressions right now. You can't see it.
They're all expressed with ellipses.
And this is exactly like the silence where the art can pop out. Yeah, where the art can pop out, and and then someone eats your brain with a can.
I'm using an interrobang.
Did you say with a cat?
Chianti, a Chianti. That's a nice Chianti.
I thought you said eats the brain with a cat.
That's what I heard too. We all talked about last time how we write dialogue, Tantz and Oz and me. So how does a Pitface write a Pitface dialogue?
Well, you have to take off all your clothes, find your arm, put a pencil in it, and just scribble like. No, that's close to what happens. If I'm lucky, I might just kind of write down the dialogue on back of a page if I have something specific I want to be said. But dialogue, like, I'll have a page in mind, kind of, like, what do I want to happen in this page? And then I usually lead with the artwork. So I'll put down the artwork, and then since I'm just kind of freestyling it, I'll just kind of include the dialogue, like how it seems, like how it feels, right? So, and once again, it's not a separate process. I don't do artwork and then dialogue. Like I said, I kind of envision the page before I do it, but dialogue is kind of my last thing. Like figuring out exactly what they say is the last thing. I kind of come up with it on the spot. So very rarely does it actually even really get written down anywhere else but on the page, unless I said, like, I know that there's something specific that I want to be said that doesn't happen very often. So I'm not really one to talk to about dialogue, except for I do try to kind of keep it simple. Like, I think a lot of people, once they get experience, try to do this, but, you kind of try to avoid too much dialogue. Like, I like to keep it in the simple, like, I'd rather have something kind of unknown and guessed at rather than lay everything down on the line. Like, Bones isn't going to come out and say, I'm sad. It should be inferred that he's sad. It's not going to... one thing that kind of gets on my nerves that people do sometimes, and this is one of those things, like, sometimes you can't really avoid it, and stop me if you guys talked about this in the last Quackcast, but, like, I don't like when people have to go out of their way to include plot devices in the dialogue, and it's kind of obvious. Like if somebody, say you take two people that have, I don't know, like, been in space for 2 years, and one person says something, and then the other person is like, well, you can't do that because I have to explain to you this thing that you were obviously there for and you would have known all about, but I'm going to explain it to you nonetheless for the sake of the reader. Yeah. You can't always dodge that. Like, that's hard to do because you still need to include plot development. But I think, like, reduce it as much as you can and, like, let your audience guess at some things. And I think I've been guilty of that a couple times in the past, as many people are, but I really, really try to avoid it. So I kind of keep it minimal.
Yeah, because you don't want to have characters explaining to each other something that they're both fully aware of, so they'd never explain in the first place. You've got to work out other ways of doing it, like relating a funny story or something about what happened. We're saying, we can't make coffee, don't you? I smashed the coffee cups back when we had that meteor strike. Oh, that's what happened. That kind of thing. So you can include stuff in it by thinking in a more advanced way rather than just saying, yes, we've been in space 2 years. And remember,
like, I didn't realize we were in space for 2 years. Thanks for updating me, buddy. Okay.
Yeah, that's an important reminder. Yeah,
that's why usually I always take care to, in all of my casts, to have an irate character, a character that gets angry very quickly, because a cop-out that I do when I need to have this sort of exposition is make them be angry and actually say all the exposition I need them to say, basically to piss the other guy off, like that he knows that the other person knows, but he actually is hammering it in because he's pissed off about something specific, and says, but you shouldn't have done that because we did this and we did that and we did, and the other guy is more and more worked up, and it gets the info across in a way that
natural.
Humans sometimes repeat things that are very obvious for pissing off purposes.
Yeah, well, that's the only reason people do usually bring up past stuff. It's to get the better of someone else in an argument. That's why you remember those.
fascists do that.
You store that stuff for ammunition for later. That's perfect. I told you we should never have attacked those Nazis. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. Remember back then on the 15th, you were all... Yeah, so basically that's
You shot yourself and you gave your position away to the enemy.
I did not. Yes, you did. I heard it. It was disgusting and I smelt it too. See, we're already come out with great dialogue. This is perfect. Anything about shitting yourself is always funny.
Yeah.
That's one of the Baines method rules.
That's a rule.
So, yeah.
Yes, it's right in there, yeah.
Add that, Gunwallace, add that to your list of things. Just to probably flesh it out. Well, thank you very much, guys, for all being here for the second part of the dialogue cast. I can't believe it. The whole gang once again reunited, even though Pit has been away on her sabbatical. She's been traveling around the world barefoot, learning about different cultures and different ways that other people laugh about poo in their daily lives.
I've actually, it's mostly just been cleaning up dog poo is what I've been doing. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
Poo and intestines, that's her life now.
I'm not kidding.
That's what happens. That's how you learn about dialogue. You get right there the earthy kind of roots of everything.
This is what happens when you go for a degree in classics.
Your life turns to shit. Well, on that note, thank you very much, guys, for being part of the Quackcast. Okay.
Thank you.
Tantz, you there? Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah, I'm there.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye! See you in another 1,000 years.